in the interest of the nation. That seems to be the idea behind the reshuffle of the cabinet for the Government of India led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The recent changes look like they have been made so that ministers in charge are assigned to not only complement the work done by the particular ministry, but also to bring a fresh perspective. Hello and welcome to New India Junction. I'm Richa Devedi and here's our take on the recent cabinet reshuffle. One of the major highlights has been representation. Following the reshuffle, what we now have is the youngest cabinet in Indian history. Don't you think that's a splendid decision, given that we are in fact one of the youngest countries in the world in terms of our population? Secondly, not only the age but also the representation from different sections has also expanded. There are now 12 ministers from scheduled castes, 8 from scheduled tribes, 27 from other backward classes, 5 from minorities like Muslim, Sikh, Christian and Buddhist, and in a heartening development, there would now be 11 women ministers. How's that for inclusion? When we look at the educational backgrounds, that's an even better picture. There are 7 ministers with a PhD, 3 with an MBA and 68 graduates. Moreover, 13 ministers have experience as lawyers, 6 as doctors, 5 as engineers and 7 as civil servants. How about that? Prime Minister Modi has always advocated a whole of government approach where efficiency and delivery are to be considered paramount. It therefore comes as no surprise that this time too, ministers and their capabilities have been taken into account. But going a step further, ministries with similar or overlapping responsibilities have been clubbed together and assigned to ministers. Simply put, to further bolster synergy and efficient working, one minister will be handling ministries working towards the same goal, making it easier and optimal. Here are some examples. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and Ministry of Chemical and Fertilizers will be handled by Mansukh Mandavia. That means decisions regarding health and also pharmaceuticals and other drugs will now be more informed. Hardeep Singh Puri will now be responsible for the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas as well as the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. This will ensure that across cities and new homes, pain points and fuel requirements can be better understood while efficient usage can be simultaneously implemented. The charge of the Minister of Information and Broadcasting and Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports has been given to Anurag Thakur. Not only will this bring in a fresh perspective, it will also ensure that requirements, necessities, and goals are better understood and communicated. Similarly, Ashwini Vaishnav will now be the Minister for Railways, Communication, and Electronics and Information Technology, ensuring that Indian railways and technical advancement become synonymous in the new India. Keeping with this logic, the Ministries of Coal and Mines will be headed by Prahlad Joshi with the addition of Parliamentary Affairs. Piyush Goyal will take on the charge as the Minister for Commerce and Industry, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution as well as Textiles. Ministry of Education and Skill Development and Entrepreneurship will be headed by Dharmendra Pradhan. Giriraj Singh will be the Minister for Rural Development as well as Panchayati Raj. Rajkumar Singh will oversee the Ministry of Power and New and Renewable Energy. Nirmala Sitharaman will handle the portfolio of the Ministry of Finance and Corporate Affairs. G. Kishan Reddy will now be in charge of the Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Development of Northeastern Region. Not just this, even ministers of state have been given a clubbed charge. This has been done with the sole purpose of boosting collaboration and minimizing conflict. Meenakshi Lekhi, Danve Rao Sahib Dada Rao, Bishweshwar Tudu, Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti are just a few examples. It is, however, very important to note that all ministries have been clubbed. In areas where undivided attention is needed for New India's growth, only one minister has been assigned. Take the example of Smriti Irani as the Minister of Women and Child Development, Kiren Rijiju as the new Minister of Law and Justice, Jyotiraditya Scindia as the new Minister of Civil Aviation, and Narayan Taturane as the new Minister for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. These areas where multiple ambitious programs are already being implemented for bringing about dramatic changes. It is therefore of utmost importance that they be headed by ministers driven by the singular goal of maximizing outputs. Given the COVID-19 pandemic, Prime Minister Modi has also accorded special attention towards science and technology. The Ministry of Science will be headed by the Minister of State for the Prime Minister's Office, Dr. Jitendra Singh, and will be personally monitored by the Prime Minister. Similarly, the newly created Ministry of Cooperation will be headed by the Home Minister, Amit Shah. This cabinet reshuffle, or rather the overhaul and expansion, has been made to bring about a renewed focus on serving the people of India and understanding their requirements in a streamlined manner. On every front, be it clubbing ministries together or assigning them to ministers with relevant capabilities, the idea has been to create a more efficient and dedicated governance process. And as we inch towards 75 years as an independent nation, the new India could not have been in better hands. Keep watching New India Junction for more insights on these recent developments. Do remember to stay safe, healthy and get vaccinated. Dhanyavad and Namaste.